Ever since Nilou's release, I've been using her as a Hydro DPS and it's actually worked really well. Of course, part of that might be due to the fact that she's currently C6 with her signature weapon, but now with what Fontaine has introduced to the game, she can become even stronger. You see, I realized that with a 2-piece of Golden Troupe, we could increase her elemental skill damage even further, and if I paired her with Furina, we could potentially reach damage well beyond what was previously attainable. So I set out over the last couple of weeks aiming to get just 2 usable pieces on the Golden Troupe set. And it didn't happen. That's why I burned through all of my fragile resin earlier today, and now I can happily say that we have a copium 2-piece set of Golden Troupe. So finally we can go ahead and test her out to see if I wasted thousands of resin, which I really hope is not the case, or else Fontaine is gonna flood again, only this time it'll be from my tears. We're gonna start out with what everyone is here to see. If you clicked on this video, then I know this is what you're waiting for. The Hilichurl test. So all we're gonna do, press E, we're gonna slash a little bit, and Nilou has passed the Hilichurl test. With that very important test out of the way, we're just gonna get a baseline here of what her elemental skill can do in terms of damage. This might not be the best enemy to test it out on, but so be it. All right, let's see. 23k on the big slash and then 10k on the other slashes. You know, it's pretty respectable. And in case you're curious what the stats are looking like, I showed some of the other effects a little bit earlier, but we know we got feathers, we got flowers, we got sand, we got goblets, and a circlet. And when you put all those together, you get this. But because Nilou is a Hydro character, we can just add in Furina, who's also a Hydro character, and get the Hydro Resonance, which will give us an additional 25% max HP. And thanks to that 25% more HP, we can see if we actually crit, we are hitting 25k on the big slash now. But wait, there's more. If we head back to Pyro Regisvine, we will see that it has not respawned yet, but through the power of Viridescent Venerer Kazwa, we can swirl, and now we're able to hit 37k on the big slash. Of course, the problem here is we're not using Kokomi on this team, we're using Furina. And if we're using Furina, we need a healer, so we can't use Kazwa, we have to use Jean. So with a Viridescent Jean, we will be hitting for 32,000. So it is a pretty sizable amount less, but it's still better than not having Viridescent at all. So now as long as I don't completely butcher the rotation of this, which I'm very good at by the way, we can swirl that, put up some pyro application, and then start seeing what we can do with Vaporize. 86,000, didn't even get to the second one. And mind you, this is before we even add Furina. So I think it's time that we bring her on the team. And for this, I think we're gonna need a bit of a tankier enemy. Here we go. So we are gonna let them do that, do one of these, go for that, put up this little guy, and then 144,000, 170,000. Phil Swift, take it away.
Now that's a lot of damage!
Now, if you are curious what her burst would look like in that same setup, I spent way too much time doing that earlier, so you can see that footage here. And yeah, it's still pretty good damage, even though it's not the elemental skill. Now, we do have a level of cope here because my Jean is still not fully built up. As I said, most of my resin has been going towards the artifact domain, so like this needs a lot of upgrading. Also, for relics, I would very much like to have a healing bonus, though we do have a temporary band-aid of sorts that Furina is C2, so we don't technically need all the healing for all the fanfare because we get it a little bit faster. But of course, the more healing, the better. Wait, what's that? Try it in the abyss, you say? If you insist. We're going right to floor 12, and we'll be taking 25% additional HP. And immediately, I completely butcher the rotation. All right, so these guys go down nice and quick. Then we're gonna go for the fanfare boost, get some healing, go for this little guy, and then press this button. And we see pretty decent overall damage. Again, I would love to have Kazu here, but we really can't. And he puts up the shield, and now we're gonna probably die. Yep, so Jean is by far the weakest link on this team because we do not have enough heals. That's fine though. I actually thought it'd be really fun to do this all again. So this time, we're gonna do the same thing, except not die. Or at least that's kind of like the running theory. And there's 3 stars on the first chamber. Now, assuming Jean can heal us enough, we should be completely fine here. Let's see if that's actually gonna be the case. Okay, so nice 90,000, 120,000. Respectable damage. Go for the same rotation a second time, and robots are down. And look at that, we could just do it again. Of course, the enemies all ran away from me, so this doesn't really help me much. But that was pretty quick. And that is Chamber 2, also 3-starred. Now let's see how we do against these Samurai Brothers. And it seems like we are doing just not so fine because he didn't kill them both at the same time, but it doesn't matter because he still goes down pretty quick. Now these dudes, no matter what team you bring, they're just going to be annoying. If we position her correctly, which is kind of hard to do in all this chaos, we can technically hit both of them with these blasts. Of course, the game is not really tolerating that too much. Gosh, I hate shielded enemies so much. And just like that, you too can get 36 stars. And if you want to bring food into it, we could slap on a 25% hydro damage bonus and a crit food just for consistency's sake. And at least from the burst, we'll see damage like this. Of course, now we need to do the same thing, but we gotta see the skill damage this time. After all, that's what this entire build is for. So, Furina burst into Jean burst, into Jianling burst, into some of this, which is gonna be hard to vaporize, but there's 180,000. Almost 200k from just skill damage. And now within her elemental skill, she can get 5 cycles of it off when she uses it. If I had a C2 Jean, she'd be able to get off a 6th cycle, which means 6 times of almost 200,000 damage. But you see, since I had to wail to get C6 Nilou, I think it's only fitting for us to see if we can now defeat the whale. I mean, let's be honest, we should be able to defeat it with this team. I just want to see more big damage. So let's see how much damage we can do. Get up the hydro application, get up the fanfare, the heal, the pyro application, and we'll just, we'll just use the skills, because why not? It's like, it's not 85,000, it's decent. I'm probably not actually vaporizing is the problem. I forgot that if I leave Furina's little trio of friends out while I'm trying to vaporize, it kind of ruins it. But it's fine, because there we go. Now, of course, another way that we could run this team is we don't need to vaporize. Let's just go full on a hydro. And this is honestly a very fun team to use. Because now, oh gosh, we don't care about reactions. We just set this stuff up. We click a bunch of Qs and we click E. And we just literally shred through things. Oh, and we get an achievement. You guys are welcome. Now you know, if you want to get this achievement, just pull C6 Nilou. Don't say I never did anything for you. Now, I'm not gonna lie, that was actually really satisfying. So I figure, we'd just go do it again. Literally do the same exact thing. And yeah, it kind of just works. Things just fall over. To be honest, I probably should have brought this team into the Spiral Abyss instead because of all the pyro shields. Probably would have fared a little bit better than we did with Jianling. Now, I guess no damage test is really complete unless we go and bully Scaramouche. I know for a fact I'm probably going to butcher my rotation and have to go through all this a second time. We're gonna hope that that's not the case though, because we are going to use the food as well. Ideally, I would love to do one run with food and one run without the food, but I'm way too lazy for that. We took out all the things. We shoot them. We break, and it's panic time. So we're gonna start with this into this into this. Okay, swirl it. Pyro-y stuff, and then bada bing, bada boom. Was that only 430,000? I thought his defense shred was like stupidly higher than the perpetual mechanical array. I'm really not sure why we only hit 20,000 more against this guy. So I am going to do this boss fight again. And this time I'm going to go ahead and try the elemental skill instead of the burst. Here we go for round number 2. Same exact procedure. A little bit of this, a little bit of swirl action. One of these, and then 250k, that's pretty good. Oh boy. It appears that there is a food that gives you more HP, which I was very much unaware of. That means we gotta run it back. So we'll be using the hydro damage bonus. And now, if I can find it, we'll also be using the HP bonus. And we already know the rotation. I don't really gotta go through it. Let's see. Bada bing. Bada. Wait for it. Boom. Wait, that's less. How is it less? I have an idea. And if this new idea works, we should see some good damage. Okay, so go for this. Boom, bada bing, bada bang. And here we go. Boom, 480,000. I was kind of forgetting that I have to use my skill, otherwise I don't get the benefits of the sword. Basically, when we hit enemies with this, we get elemental mastery, and that's how we actually are able to do better damage with vaporize. And that means we need to go back and fight Scaramouche again. Give me this, give me that. Okay. Here we go. So what I'm gonna do is start out with a little bit of that, and then this, and then that. Okay, cool. One of these, and let's see what this does. What? Oh, he dies too fast. Well, I wasn't expecting that to be an issue. The second proc of her burst is usually what does the highest damage, so we can't see it against him because he's too squishy. Does that mean I have to go test this on Raiden? Okay, here we go again. Food buffs are indeed up. Raiden should be slightly tankier at least. 410? 501,000. Interesting. I mean, Scaramouche's would have been even higher. But also, this is supposed to be a skill damage build, not a burst damage build. With that being said, though, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe. We might be starting a new series here. Maybe, possibly. No promises. But with that being said, I will see all of you guys next time.